Before the universe existed, before the stars, the oceans, the ground beneath your feet, there was nothing but ice and fire. And from that void, beings emerged so powerful, so strange, so impossible that even death itself worked differently for them. These were the Norse gods. Not the Marvel version, not the cartoon version, the real ones. The ones the Vikings prayed to before going into battle, the ones who knew the world would end and chose to fight anyway. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to walk you through every major Norse god, and by the end, you'll understand why these myths have survived over 2,000 years. Because they're not just stories, they're something far more unsettling. Norse mythology comes from the Vikings, warriors from Scandinavia who lived between 793 and 1066 AD. But these myths are older than the Viking Age, much older. The Norse believed in a cosmos called Yggdrasil, a colossal tree connecting 9 worlds. Gods, humans, giants, and the dead all existed in different branches of the same reality. Nothing was separate, everything was connected. But here's the paradox that makes Norse mythology unlike any other. These gods were not immortal. They were not all-powerful. They had flaws, they made terrible decisions, and every single one of them knew exactly how they would die. The end of all things, Ragnarök, was not a possibility. It was a scheduled event, and they lived their entire existence knowing it was coming. Freyr, the god who gave up his only weapon. Let's start with Freyr, god of fertility, sunshine, and prosperity. Sounds harmless, right? Here's what no one tells you. Freyr owned a magical sword, a weapon that fought on its own. It could swing itself through armies without a human hand guiding it, a sword that needed no warrior. Then Freyr fell in love with a frost giantess named Njörður. To win her heart, he gave away the sword as a gift to her father. He traded his only weapon, an impossible self-fighting sword, for love. At Ragnarök, when the fire giant Surtur marches to burn the world, Freyr will face him unarmed. And he'll lose. He knew this. He chose love anyway. Tyr, the one-handed god of justice. Tyr is the god of law and justice, and the only Norse god brave enough to do what no one else would. The gods had a problem. Fenrir, a wolf the size of a mountain, was growing too powerful. They needed to bind him, but every chain they tried, Fenrir broke like thread. Finally, the dwarves forged Gleipnir, a magical ribbon, impossibly light, impossibly strong. But there was a catch. Fenrir would only allow himself to be bound if one of the gods placed their hand in his mouth as a guarantee of good faith. No god volunteered, except Tyr. He put his right hand inside Fenrir's jaw. When Fenrir realized he couldn't break free, he bit down. Tyr lost his hand. He paid for the safety of all the gods with his own flesh, and he never complained about it once. Freyja, the goddess who received half the dead. Most people know Freyja as the goddess of love. What they don't know is that she was also a goddess of war, and that she had first claim on half of all warriors killed in battle. While Odin took his half of the dead to Valhalla, Freyja took hers to her hall, Folkvanger. She chose first. She also wept tears of red gold when her husband Other disappeared. Nobody knows where he went, not even Freyja. A goddess who commands armies and weeps gold. Loki, the god who broke everything on purpose. Loki is the trickster god, half giant, son of a frost giant raised among the Aesir. He was charming, brilliant, and deeply unpredictable. For centuries, Loki helped the gods solving problems they created, using cleverness where brute force failed. He even traveled with Thor as a companion. They were, in many ways, the most entertaining duo in Norse mythology. Then something shifted. Baldur, the most beloved of all gods, the bright one, the one everyone adored, was protected from every threat in existence. His mother Frigg had traveled the entire cosmos, making every creature and object swear an oath never to harm him. Loki found the one thing she'd missed, mistletoe, too small, too harmless, she hadn't bothered with it. Loki fashioned a dart from mistletoe, guided the blind god Herther's hand, and killed Baldur, the most perfect god in the Norse cosmos, murdered with a weed, by the one being everyone trusted. For this, the gods captured Loki and bound him beneath the earth where a serpent drips venom on his face forever. His wife Sigyn holds a bowl to catch the drops. When the bowl fills and she turns to empty it, the venom hits his skin and his writhing causes earthquakes. He's still there, waiting for Ragnarök, when he'll finally break free and lead the attack against the gods he once called family. Thor, not what you think. Thor is the god of thunder, everyone knows that, but here's what Marvel never showed you. Thor's primary job wasn't fighting giants for glory, it was protecting humanity. The Vikings believed that every storm you saw wasn't random weather, it was Thor in combat somewhere above the clouds, fighting frost giants who wanted to destroy Midgard, the world of humans. Every single storm, Thor fighting for you invisibly. He wasn't a superhero, he was a guardian, a relentless, tireless defender who fought enemies you never even knew existed. And he would die at Ragnarök, killing the Midgard serpent, only to take 9 steps before collapsing from its venom. 9 steps, that's all he gets. He kills the serpent and then he dies. Neither of them, though, are the most impossible, not even close. Heimdall, the god who never sleeps. Heimdall is the watchman of the gods. He stands at the edge of Asgard, guarding the Bifrost, the rainbow bridge connecting the worlds. His abilities are impossible by any standard. He requires less sleep than a bird. His eyesight is so sharp he can see 100 miles in any direction in total darkness as clearly as in daylight. His hearing is so acute he can hear grass growing in the fields and wool growing on sheep. He carries Gjallarhorn, a horn whose blast will be heard across all 9 worlds. At Ragnarök, he'll blow it to wake every warrior, every god, and every soul in preparation for the final battle. And then he and Loki will kill each other simultaneously, 2 gods ending each other. Baldur, the god killed by a weed. Baldur was light itself, joy personified, every god loved him, every creature loved him, the sun was brighter when he smiled. His mother Frigg made everything in the cosmos swear never to harm him. Fire, water, disease, metal, stone, animals, every plant, every creature. Everything except mistletoe. And you already know what happened. He was perfect, and he was killed by the one thing his mother thought was too small to matter. Which brings us to the last god on this list, the one who ties everything together, and the most unsettling of all. Odin, the god who knows how he dies and fights anyway. Odin is the Allfather, ruler of Asgard, god of wisdom, war, death, and poetry. He sacrificed one eye to drink from the well of Mimir, the well of infinite wisdom. He hung himself on Yggdrasil, the world tree, for 9 days and 9 nights, wounded by his own spear to discover the secrets of the runes. He has 2 ravens, Hugin and Munin, thought and memory, that fly across all 9 worlds every day and return to whisper everything they've seen into his ears. And with all of that wisdom, all of that knowledge, Odin knows exactly what Ragnarök holds for him. He knows the wolf Fenrir will swallow him whole. He knows, and he prepares anyway. He builds Valhalla, gathers warriors, trains an army he knows cannot win, all to delay the inevitable by even 1 day. That's the twist. Odin isn't trying to survive Ragnarök, he knows he can't. He's trying to make the fight last as long as possible. The wisest being in existence, choosing to lose slowly rather than not fight at all. If you take one thing from this video, take this: the Norse gods weren't powerful because they were invincible. They were powerful because they chose to act despite knowing they'd fail. That's not mythology, that's the most human thing imaginable, dressed in armor and thunder. But we've only covered 8 gods. Part 2 goes deeper into the ones who were stranger, darker, and far more terrifying. You won't believe what's coming. Subscribe for part 2 and drop a comment. Which of these gods shocked you the most? I'll read every single one.